All right, with this next question, first thing we're going to do, read the question sentence. We're going to ask, what is it that we want? And when it comes to literally every word problem, this is the most important question because it'll more often than not save you from making a catastrophic mistake before you even know it. Here's what I mean, everybody. When we read the question sentence, sure, they're going to give us information here where they're going to say if there are 24 cups of flour, whatever. But everybody, give me one word of what we're actually looking for. What are we actually looking for in one word? We are looking for the total right there. How many units are there in total? They're not asking for how many cups of flour, how many cups of sugar. They're saying the total. So why am I emphasizing that so much? Because this is the point at which half of us got it right and half of us got it wrong. And so let's go ahead and show why here. So again, we are given cups of flour. We are looking for the total. So I'm going to write that down over here. Again, I'm going to try to compare flour and the total. This is a tip when it comes to solving proportion word problems. You are always better off setting up your proportion based on the question sentence itself. You're looking for total, and then they give you flour with total. So those are the two things I'll compare. And if you stick to that, you're in a good position. Watch this. I'm going to draw my little vertical line here to separate the two sides. And then I'm going to draw my fraction symbols to set up my proportion. So here we go. What do we have? Again, we have 24 cups of flour, and we're looking for that total. So what I'll do first is I'll write 24 for the cups of flour, and then T for total for what we're looking for. Up next, I'm going to look at that ratio that they give us. This right here, 4 to 7. This is going to be the point of a headache for a lot of people here. So in a recipe, cups of flour and cups of sugar are in a 4 to 7 ratio. One more time. Flour to sugar in a 4 to 7 ratio. Okay, so let me show you this here. We have 4 and then we have 7. Help me out, everybody. 4 is represented by what? What represents the 4 here? The 4 is the first number given in that ratio, the first word listed in the ratio. Yeah, it's going to be flour. Let me go ahead and write down flour right over here. And again, I'll just highlight that with green. Flour was first, 4 was first, so 4 is flour. 7 corresponds to the second word. What was the second word that they gave us? Sugar. You know what's funny about the word sugar? It's not the word total, right? It is not the word total. This is going to be the biggest issue for us because guess what? Yeah, we want to compare flour to total, but we only have flour to sugar. So what this means is, yeah, we can absolutely take the 4. That represents flour, so we can put that right here. That does represent flour. The problem is, how the heck are we supposed to get this number here? Because it's not going to be the 7. I promise you, it is not the 7. Because guess what? We need total, not sugar. We need total. So this doesn't belong here. 7 does not belong here. I'll just throw this off screen. I'll just, hope that doesn't mess anything up later in this presentation. But how do we get total, everybody? What is the one operation that we know is all reliable when it comes to getting a total? Addition. That's right. Taking the aggregate, finding the sum. Yeah, that's it right there. And a lot of us are starting to realize, oh, I see the mistake that I made. But that's a good thing. It's a very good thing to know the mistake that you made because it's very likely that you'll avoid that mistake in the future. So here we go. 4 plus 7 is 11 total. And that's what we're going to put right here. The 11. Now we're good to go, my party people. Now we can party. Now we can finish this and find the value of t. Let's just duplicate this and put it right there. And so we can cross multiply and divide if we'd like to. But I am a fan of taking less time when you can. I'm going to notice that there's a comparison that I can take advantage of. Going from right to left, I noticed that 4 to 24 is times 6. Everybody, help me out. What's 11 times 6? What's that going to be? Booyah, that's going to be 66. And so after taking all that time planning, once we finally got the setup, look at the setup. This might as well be mental math, right? Might as well be mental math once we figure out the setup. But that's what's important in word problems, the actual setup. I am okay with you taking more than half the time on the setup, because if you don't have the right setup, you're not going to get the right calculation regardless. So the correct answer here, my party people, is answer choice A, 66. And so before we move forward, here's what I want to do. I want to go ahead and actually just show you what would happen if we completely undid all of this and then said, what would happen if we actually put the 7? Not the 11, but 7. Everybody, you tell me, what does the 7 represent again? What does the 7 represent? That's really the biggest key. The 7 represents sugar right there. Yeah, we got that. 4 to 7. 7 was the second number. Second word is sugar. So yeah, that makes sense. Cool. So here's what we have to be realistic about, everybody. We are no longer comparing flour and total. This comparison is comparing flour to sugar. That's what this comparison is, everybody. One more time. This is the comparison between flour and sugar, because 24 represents flour and these denominators represent sugar. You can write T, but this actually represents sugar, okay? That's what that actually represents. So I'll just use X for now to represent that. And now I'm going to cross multiply and divide, or just, go ahead and do the same thing that I just did with comparisons to save some time. So I'll bring this over here. Awesome. And now I'll go ahead and do the comparison. And the comparison shows, hey, if I want to go from right to left, that's times 6. And I can do the same thing on the bottom. You can cross multiply and divide as well, and you'll get this answer. You will get 7 times 6, which is going to be 42. Now you might be asking, okay, I have 42. I see 42 right here. Isn't that the correct answer? No, not at all. Because what you just solved for was not the total. What you just solved for, my friends, was the number of cups of sugar. That's what you solved for. Again, sugar, sugar, sugar. So because we have sugar and not total, we will take the amount of sugar and we will add it with how much flour we have, which is 24. And that's how we can also get the 66 cups of sugar. That's how you can still get the correct answer, even if you didn't plug in the 11.